Hi everybody, you are watching the Chrissy B Show, and our aim here is to help look after your mental health and well-being. Now, what are you afraid of? I'm not talking about things like spiders or snakes, but things that affect your day-to-day decisions about work, about relationships, and other areas of your life. Fear can be crippling and can keep you stuck in the same place for a long time. My guests today are real-life story guest Ursula Jones, who'll be talking about how she overcame fear when she was made redundant, when she had just had a baby and was in the middle of moving house. How did she cope and what did she do? We also have our love experts, James and Helena Marques, who'll be talking about how fear affects relationships and potential relationships and ways to combat this. And you may remember a fabulous event we covered last month, which was when we went to Brussels to enjoy dinner 50 feet up in the air. We're going to meet the brains behind Dinner in the Sky and find out how they put everything together, and also how they didn't allow the bombings in Belgium to put them off their plans. And later I'll be showing you how I got on with ice climbing, which I found particularly challenging. But before we meet our guests, let's take a look at how distressing panic attacks are and how they can even stop someone from living a normal life and visiting friends and family.
There's forest around, lots of nature, very peaceful and serene. I like being here. Wish I could get out more, but if I'm gonna be at home, this is a great place to be. I have what's called panic disorder. I have these feelings of intense fear or apprehension when there's nothing to be fearful about. Like, it can happen in the mall or in the grocery store. My particular issue is driving. You know, I'm very afraid of having a panic attack driving. In particular, I have a hard time driving on highways, especially in busy areas of the city, you know, where there's a lot of traffic, where I might be, you know, afraid of, you know, losing control of the car, having a wreck, having a heart attack, because that's part of the fear response, is the heart beating real fast, rapid breathing. I'm trying to talk about it, come out of isolation about it, and I'm trying to overcome my driving phobia. My goal for today is I'm going to successfully get on the freeway for a fast trip to the park. Here's my home. I take a couple of right turns. It's definitely affected my ability to work. It's affected my relationships. It's been very hard on my marriage. Take a left, go down this way, way up to Mount Bunnell, the park. You know, I'd like to do ordinary things during the day. I'd like to be able to work part-time. I would really like to, you know. When I'm driving and I start to have anxiety, I pay attention to my breath. Somehow getting oxygen to your brain, you know, just really, really helps. Sometimes I'll, like, turn the radio dial to show that I am in control, you know, that this isn't, like, overpowering me, that I do have control. There's lots of cars and I may have to wait in line, which I don't like. So there's cars behind me, there's cars on the side. I'm breathing. Okay, the breathing. Breathing is essential. Just chill. Just chilling. I am extremely lonely. I can't live my life in this house, just staying in this house all the time. It's unhealthy for me not to have more human contact. The last time I visited my mother driving by myself was Christmas 2011. She lives 45 minutes away by highway, and I'd love to go visit my mother. I mean, you know, she's my mother. Okay, so just me, but I always roll the window down before I get on the freeway to hear the traffic. Somehow it helps me, because I know what I'm up against. We're getting on the freeway. We're doing just fine. Doing just fine, folks. Okay, we gotta go over one lane. It's too stressful for me to go on the highway. Though I love my mother-in-law, it's too much anxiety for me. It isn't worth it. It's just so difficult.
So we're going to be watching the second part of that story after the break. But first, let's speak to Ursula Jones about her experience. Welcome to the show, Ursula.
Hi, Chrissy, thanks.
Now, we have met before because Ursula is actually one of my makeup artists that's done my makeup today, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
But you do have quite a story because you are doing what you love today, but there was a time when you thought you'd kind of lost everything. So take us back first of all, what kind of job were you doing before?
Well, I had 15 years solid experience working in the financial industry. Loved my job, learnt loads, you know, really appreciated my time there. And then after getting married to my lovely husband Keith, we became pregnant and...
was that planned?
Yeah, of course, yeah, we were over the moon with that. Told work everything was going fine, so we decided that we would actually go ahead and sell our property because we're in a one-bed apartment at the moment, and we thought, you know, we're expanding, look for a two-bedroom. Okay. In the meantime, I had my daughter. It was by emergency C-section, and got called into my job after 3 weeks of having her, and was told I was being made redundant. So yeah, it flipped our world upside down, and you know, there's...
So you just had a baby, and you were obviously looking forward to the future as a new family for you, or in addition to your family that you had, looking forward to moving into a bigger place, and then you weren't expecting, you didn't have any inkling whatsoever that you were going to be
there had been rumours, but there had been rumours for several years.
We just kind of never expected it to
happen.
happen.
Yeah, of course, and it was just one of them things. It just happened suddenly, and then you have to rethink everything.
What went through your mind when you first heard that news?
Oh, it was just sheer panic, fear. You know, I've got this new baby. You know, you walk away from the hospital thinking you have to look after this new human being, and my first instinct was I have to look after my family. Where do I go? What do I do? And that we were so close to selling our property as well. We were a matter of days away from completion. Wow, really? And we just had to make a decision of, okay, we will pull out of the sale of our property. It just wasn't right timing. And
what was that like though for you? Was that like a really difficult
It was heartbreaking
decision?
Because also the chap who was looking to buy our property, he was so lovely, and you hate to do that. I hate letting people down, but you know, at the end of the day, I had a family, and we had to make that decision for our new family.
Because there was a lot going on. Because even when you have a baby for the first time, it's like a big deal already.
Of course,
I'm not a mum, but from what I've heard from friends and from other people that I know,
it's a massive change.
It's like that already is a change, and you have to get used to your new baby. You have to get used to being a parent.
That's right.
And already that's a lot of pressure. But then also to be made redundant, and I can just imagine how your workplace felt when you took the baby, and it's like,
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're about to drop this bombshell on you.
Yeah, it was literally took her in 1 week, and the next week I got made redundant. Yeah.
And then the redundancy. My God, there was so much going on. How did you cope mentally?
It was stressful. I mean, it's just one of those things that I remember speaking to a particular friend and just panicking about everything. I think I've never been made redundant. I've never been out of work since I left school. So it was just the big fear of the unknown. You don't know what you're going to step into. Being in the job that I was there for nearly 9 years, you know, loved the colleagues, loved my job. It was hard, you've got changes all the time, but I just unfortunately had them
everything at once.
So we then had to pull out the sale of our house, and as I said, had a baby, got made redundant, and that was kind of all in the space of under 6 weeks.
Wow.
People experience these through their lifetime, just not in that condensed period.
So what did you do after that? What happened?
So me and my husband sat down, and we then took the decision of I was going to become a makeup artist. It's something I've done from leaving school, and I had dipped in and out of it for several years, but due to my job I could never really commit full time to it. So I thought, this is the opportunity I'm going to get, and I need to grab it.
Was it something that was always in the back of your mind, would you say? Because normally you'd sort of think, if in your kind of situation, you'd just go and look for another job
yeah,
similar to what you were doing before, because you were great at it. So
it would be easy. I could walk into another job and my heart just wasn't in it anymore. I think, you know, as much as the people was lovely and, you know, the job was fine, it just wasn't my passion. It's just not something really I had the drive for. And I thought this is going to be my one opportunity, because if I don't do it now, that's it, I'm never going to get the chance again.
Was that a scary decision?
Of course, yeah. And again, it's everything comes back down to my daughter Kira. You know, everything kind of revolves around her and my husband and what we were going to do. And it's just the fear of, you know, the unknown and thinking there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and just all the fears that you have as a new mum, being made redundant, having to let people down because we were so close to selling our property. Mixed emotions, you know, emotions ran high. And
so then how did things progress now? What are you doing now?
So I just threw myself into it. I made sure I had all my right qualifications, all my insurances in place. And just started using friends as models and just threw myself in the deep end. And it's been going good. It's slow. It's a new business. Still have all the new fears. You know, I'm still learning as a mum and growing as a mum, and as well as, you know, doing my new job that I absolutely love.
Which is?
I'm a makeup artist for the Chrissy B Show.
Now I remember, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you were quite surprised when we called you back and said, because she came in for a trial, she did a great job. I loved the makeup look that she did for me. And she was just so elated and over the moon when she got the news.
Well, I just didn't expect it, and I also didn't expect it as quick. But I remember saying to you, just, you know, especially in this industry, it's always, you just don't know who's going to be better than you, or, you know, you always have to keep learning, especially in this role. I mean, you do as an individual through life anyway, but especially in this job, you have to be up to date with all the current trends. And you just don't know who else has come for the interview and how they've got on. So, yeah, I was absolutely over the moon.
And it's the first time you're doing TV makeup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great experience. I'm loving every second of it.
She's so lovely to work with as well, bless her. She's always so bubbly and very reliable, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Now, what are your plans for the future, would you say?
Carry on working with the Chrissy B Show. I'm just really throwing myself into every opportunity I can get. I'm just, you know, I think having that initial fear of, should I do it years ago, and, you know, dipping in and out of, you know, the makeup world, I don't know, I just have that complete different view on it now. And I'm just throwing myself into every opportunity. So I'm hoping to expand into more TV. I've done a film and I really enjoyed that, so I'd like to maybe branch out and do some more films. I love special effects. That's what I originally wanted to do from school. I love the special effects makeup, so trying to get
if we do any horror stuff on the show, I'll get you to do
that would be great, So I'd like to kind of, just put my hand into different things and
Any advice that you maybe give to our viewers that have been through something quite daunting, maybe something similar to you, like what you had, or something else that's kind of like, oh my God, what do I do now? This is just not what I expected.
I mean, I'm really lucky. I've got great family and friends. That, you know, there was a handful of particular friends that I just knew night or day. Fear can strike you at any time, and I would just, all of a sudden, my mind would be racing, and that would be it. I would start panicking, and I would text a particular friend, and I don't know, she just had the touch to calm me down and, you know, really break it down at the end of the day. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and, you know, things like this happen to people in a lifetime. It was just, I had to break down the fact that it happened so quickly for me, and I've gone from, you know, working in the financial industry to completely changing my career, which in itself is a big jump.
And you actually said that if this hadn't happened, you would have never been.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
And our paths wouldn't have crossed.
I know.
As well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I don't think I would be. I probably would have walked into another job if I hadn't have thought, right, I'm going to take this opportunity while I can. And if I hadn't been made redundant, I probably would have a 2-bed house, but probably working in quite a boring job. So,
so happy, all good. Brilliant. So thank you so much for speaking to us. You've done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so do join us after the break, because as well as watching what happened to Mary Lou once she actually managed to get on the motorway, I'll also be speaking to love experts James and Helena Marques on how to stop fear ruining your love life. Welcome back to the show, everyone, where we are speaking all about how to combat fear. Now, before the break, we met Mary Lou, who spoke about living with panic attacks. Now, let's take a look at what happened to her once she actually managed to get onto the motorway.
Traffic up here. Breathing. No, I don't feel like I see my mother often enough. I will need to go up there more. And that's what you do when your parents get elderly, you know. This is my mother. She's age 84. This is my father. He passed away 2 months ago. It's been a rough winter, you know. And, I don't know. See, when something like that happens, you look ahead and you realize your time is real limited. You really get in touch with your own mortality. I feel that each of us has a special, unique path in our lives, and that we can look to a higher power to help us find our way. Being in nature and realizing that we're a larger part of the whole, that helps us to figure out what our path is. And ultimately, it will be okay. It will be okay. It will be okay. Uh-oh. Now, this is not good because we've got major traffic. Okay. A little anxious here, but doing okay. No, I'm not. I'm really not. And it's just so hard. We're just afraid. I mean, it's just that there's something about highways. There's so much stimulation. There's so much danger. It's so fast. You know, there's so many cars. See, I don't like this at all. If I have a panic attack, there's no escape because there's going to be cars on either side. I'm breathing. Okay, the breathing. I'm fine. I'm serene. I'm calm. Ultimately, it will be okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, I can already see the sign up there, 35th Street. I'm very happy to be getting close. What's the sign say here? 1 mile. Yay, we're getting to our exit. Whoopee, I love our exit. Hey, we're about to get there. Okay, here we are. Mount Pinell Road. My goodness, I did it. So I get to go to this beautiful park. I'm really happy to be out of the house. It's great. I would tell people that suffer from panic disorder not to give up, that it does get better, that there's help out there, that they're not alone, that there are people who are professionals that can help them deal with the disorder. It does get better. It'll be okay. I will tell my mother that I drove on the highway, and she'll be very proud of me. She'll be very proud of me.
So it's so good to see Mary Lou fighting her fears there. And also thank you very much to the Mental Health Channel for that video. And if you want to know more about them, you can head over to our website, chrissybshow.tv, and go to our contributors section and you'll find them there. So now it's time to speak to our love experts, James and Helena Marques, to talk about how to actually stop fear from ruining your relationships. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hi, Chrissy.
Hello.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So lovely to have you back.
It's a pleasure to be
back.
here.
Thank
So we have touched on this subject before, but I would like to actually get your top tips now on how to combat
They're
fear.
all here. I'm ready.
So you've got them, you're ready to go. So first of all, just want to ask you a bit of a personal question. Did you ever experience fears in your past relationships, or about having a relationship in general?
I was very insecure about starting the dating thing, because I didn't know what it would be like. And I think it's quite normal to a certain level for you to be a bit afraid of, oh, what's going to happen? Is he going to like me? When we first met, remember? Of course, you couldn't read my mind, but all these things were going through my mind. Yeah. But then, it's never what we think it is, if that makes sense. There's things that we think.
No.
Let me explain.
Okay.
You know, when you're going through, you're having all these thoughts, these negative thoughts, and when you overcome or when you just get on with what you have to do, when you look back, you think, oh,
it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, you know, so.
So I think people over imagine things and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
How about you,
happens to
James?
everyone.
Did you have any fears, any apprehensions?
That would be interesting.
It's interesting because, look, let me explain to you in this way. The first ever time that someone was going to introduce me to someone and said, look, I have this friend, this relative, and you'd be good for each other. And then I got very excited and bought brand new clothes and so on. And she took a look at me, one look at me, and said, I don't want to get to know him.
Oh.
So then my second relationship.
Said it to your face?
No, but I saw her from afar and she did like this and walked away. Then my second relationship, I was a little bit afraid.
Oh.
Afraid, but I was a little bit, you know, what if that happens? But then I got on with it and the relationship didn't work. And when that relationship ended, I said, look, when I meet someone the next time, I'm going to do this and I'm going to behave like this and I know exactly what I'm going to say. So when I met Helena, I was not scared one bit or had no fear whatsoever because I had this thing in my mind, I'm going to go there and I'm going to, you know, just be myself, and I didn't care.
Were you yourself though?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. I had this attitude of I wasn't going to care. So when I met her, I was not afraid at all. I had no fears. But that second relationship, which didn't work, in the beginning, I was a little bit scared. A little bit
It's
afraid.
interesting that you say that because the first thing I picked up was he's very confident. I like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's really
Very
good.
confident.
Okay. All right, so let's get to
and handsome as well. Moving on.
So we're going to talk about two things here. So we'll have two sets of 5 tips, and we're going to talk about actually before you get into relationships, so how fear can prevent you from finding love in the first place, and then we'll also be covering how fear can actually ruin a current relationship and how you can combat this. So who's going to start? We're going to start with finding love first of all.
Okay. Well, usually people are afraid of the first date, they're afraid of starting a relationship, they're afraid because something has happened before that, you know, it was traumatic. So usually the first step, and this may seem obvious, is for the person to face their fears. And it's very simple. I know it's a simple tip, but that's what we did throughout our lives. If you think about it, I remember when I learned how to swim, I knew how to swim, but I had never gone to the deep end of the swimming pool or the beach. So one day I just had to face my fears. I jumped into the deep end, and it was not what I was thinking at all. It was actually quite easy. So I think the first thing is fears are a normal part of life, including relationships, and you just have to face them. You just have to go there, and once you get past those first few moments, you'll be fine. So the first thing is face your fears.
But how? Give us an example, maybe in
it
when you're
depends. So
trying
for
to find
example,
someone.
if you're going on a date, right, and you're scared, and what if this person doesn't like me? You know, just go for it and try to be yourself as much as you can, right? And if you are afraid of starting a new relationship because you had a bad experience before, I'd say, you know, give it a go. Try again. And usually people say like this, well, but I tried once and it didn't work, so I might not try again. That's the same thing as saying, I went to a barber once, I got a bad haircut, I'm never going to go to a barber again, right? Yeah. So try again. Very few people find the right person in the first attempt. So if you had a bad experience or two, just try again. Don't face your fears, whatever the fears are.
Right.
And as you can see, the tips we're giving are very close to home. I mean, it's things that we've had to do, and it worked for us. And the second tip is very similar to what I said about my fear, is that it's never as bad as you think it is. It's never. I remember even getting ready for my wedding day, I was like, my God, it's a brand new life, a brand new challenge. I mean, I'm excited, but what is it like? And you know, I had all these things, and of course, throughout my whole life, at college, at school, I remember I used to have a lot of anxiety. My mom used to have extra care with me because I was always very nervous in situations that my brothers wouldn't be. So they used to say to me, it's not as bad as you think it is, it's all in your mind. And I didn't like to hear that because I would think, but you don't understand how I feel. Don't tell me I don't know what it's like. But it's true. That's why this step goes very well with his step.
Yeah.
Just go and do it and see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the third thing is that, especially if you're starting a relationship, if you're going on a date, it's always important to remember that the other person is probably just as scared as you are, right? Sometimes we think, oh, I'm the only one who's nervous here. Or I'm the only one who's had a bad experience and I'm trying to bounce back from this. And that's not true. So when you're going on a date, the other person may be doing really well at hiding the fact that they're scared or that they're nervous. Or if you're coming from a divorce, for example, a lot of people who've come from a divorce and they're going on the dating scene again and they have to try again, they think, well, I just came from a broken relationship, I have children. What if the other person, doesn't like me because I have the divorce tag? And that other person that you're going to meet or you're starting a relationship with probably has the exact same fears that you have.
Would you advise to maybe mention that in that date? To actually just say, look, I'm really nervous?
I don't think the person should say that on the first date. I think it causes a bad impression to say, look, actually I'm here on this date, but let me just tell you I'm petrified, right? Don't do that. But eventually, I think once you feel at ease with the person, maybe after first couple of dates, after 2 or 3 dates, I do think you need to be open and say, look, initially when I met you, I was a little bit afraid because of past experiences, but I'm a lot more at ease. So say I had this fear, but I have actually overcome this fear. So just remember the other person is probably as afraid as you are.
Yeah, but a good date will know, oh, she's nervous. So let me respect that and not judge on the first impression. So it has a lot to do with maturity as well. But anyway, my 4th step is tell yourself a new story. From the moment we grow up, from the moment we, mature enough to tell ourselves stories like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not this enough. I'm not pretty enough. Or tell yourself a different story. I am brave. I can do this. If so-and-so can do it, I can do it too. So tell yourself a different story. Whatever you want it to be, but let it be positive. And because when people tell themselves a story, we all do. I don't know if many don't realize, maybe they realize it now as they hear me say this, that sometimes you are getting ready and you're talking to yourself, okay, you're going to have a good day, be brave, there's this new interview, but there's many people who tell themselves very negative stories.
True.
And as a result, they act upon it naturally without them realizing. And that's why it's like a cycle, And I could go on and on about this because this is such a...
And it's something we all do or we have done at some point without even realizing. It's like a...
So tell yourself a new story. Forget about your fears and believe in yourself.
Okay.
And the final one is, I think it's important for people to remember the following, that if you're going to start a relationship, if you're starting a new chapter of your love life, right? If you're not in a relationship but you're aiming to be, or you just met someone, it's important to remember that if you're at that moment, at that chapter of your life, that is supposed to be an enjoyable moment, right? So the 5th part is enjoy the journey. It's like a roller coaster, right? If you've been on a roller coaster that initially goes up, right, and you start getting really scared, and then when it stops right on that cliffhanger or whatever you call it, and you look down, you get really scared. But once it starts moving, you start enjoying it, right? And a relationship, when you start discovering a new relationship, or you look at the prospect of starting again, even if you don't have anyone, but you look at the prospect of starting again, it's supposed to be an enjoyable journey. So I'm single, I don't have anyone, for example, but enjoy the fact that now you have time to invest in yourself, to go to the gym, to learn a new hobby, to do something new. If you just started dating, don't start thinking, what if this doesn't work? What if it does work? So enjoy it. It's a journey that you're supposed to enjoy.
Not dread.
Exactly.
Okay, so those were our 5 tips for our single viewers. And after the break, we're going to be sharing, or you're going to be sharing your 5 tips for those that are already in a relationship. Plus, we'll be showing you an interview with the brains behind the Dinner in the Sky event in Brussels that I had the pleasure in attending. and be finding out how they put everything together and also how they didn't allow the bombings in Belgium to put them off their plans. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to our show today, all about how to combat fear. So before the break, we were speaking to James and Helena Marques, our resident love experts on the show, and they were addressing our single viewers on how not to let fear stop them from finding the love of their lives. But now they're going to be addressing our married viewers, those that are in a relationship already, who also sometimes mess up their relationships because they have that, they're scared of certain things or of things that you're going to tell us all about. Yeah. So your top 5 tips, please, for our viewers in relationships.
The first thing is that if you're afraid of something, you need to be open about it with your partner and deal with that, right? If you're alone and you're dealing with fear by yourself, then it's one thing. But if you're with someone else, your fears, whether you like to admit it or not, will affect the person who's with you. So you need to be open about it, and you need to deal with that. So, you know, and part of dealing with fear sometimes, if you're in a relationship, is talking about it. So if you're afraid the person will leave you, if you're afraid that, you know, something bad's going to happen, you're afraid because of an experience you had, then talk to the person. They, you know, when the person married you, they married you to be with you until the end of their life. That was the initial intent. Right? And even if you've gone through different things and you explain that to the person, they're not going to leave you because you have a fear, right? So if you're honest about it and you're open about it, the person loves you, they'll understand it and they'll try to help you to overcome that.
I suppose if you hide it, then you will start reacting in certain ways maybe, and even
which the person will not understand why you're reacting like that.
Yeah, okay, good point. Number 2.
Is that your point?
Yes.
Okay. My second point is, stop comparing your relationship with other people's relationship. Why? The fear. I was reading a book on psychology a few years ago, and something a specialist said was that fear almost never corresponds to reality. If that's how they word it, I'm not sure. It's not, you know, it looks like something in our mind, but deep down, truly, it's not what it seems. So, when you look at other people's relationships and you hear that so and so broke up and there was a betrayal and this and that happened, people who are prone to fearing in that aspect, they start behaving funny because they think, oh, in a very suspicious way, oh, is he going to do that to me? Is he thinking the same? So, you know, that fear makes you kind of start comparing your relationship with other people's relationship, and you do things that are silly and that you late regret.
Which is then a self-fulfilling prophecy, because
exactly
you will certainly make a relationship into something that it wasn't in the first place. Yeah. Okay, good point. Number 3.
My next one is that if you are open about your fears and you talk to your partner and you try to overcome them, but you haven't been able to, then look for help. Okay. And that's what's great about your program, is that you are here to help people who have fears, who have phobias, who have traumas. And there are many things that we can overcome by ourselves. There's other things we can overcome by talking to people who care about us. Yeah. And there's other things we need help, whether it's professional help, whether it's spiritual help. So if you are in a situation where you've spoken to people who care about you, they've tried to reassure you that there's nothing for you to be afraid of, that this is something that you're imagining or something you've been carrying with you and you shouldn't, but yet you haven't been able to overcome that fear, then look for help. Find someone who understands your problem and who's going to be able to help you.
Okay.
And last one, I think. No, you still
last one for you.
Is that, you know, it's 2 in 1. People should question their fears. Because fear, well, I'm not a psychologist, but fear, I remember when I was very fearful, very, paranoid with certain things growing up. I did have that problem growing up. I advise people, this is what I used to do, to question their fears. Why am I afraid of this? But why? Ask yourself why. Try to find the root of that, because you will come to the realization that it's not what you think it is. And connected with what my husband said, seek help. I would like, if you don't mind, to say that we are available every week for appointments. We get people contacting us, asking for, to see us. People with all sorts of problems in their relationship, singles and married couples, and we are here also to help. So there is a lot of help out there, and I think people
don't have to suffer in silence.
I think it's everyone has fears. I think it's time for people to address their fears and get on with life, and not allow the fears to.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think so. It's really. Sometimes we sit down with people, we talk to them, and we can tell that only one little thing is keeping them, like in a prison. They are not happy because of that small thing, and all it takes sometimes is one word.
Yeah.
So that's what we're here for.
And the final thing is that if you do these 4 things, you should be able to overcome your fear. So the 5th thing is not really about overcoming fear, is about that if you have overcome your fear, then you should talk to everyone about it. Talk to other people who are going through the same fears, which is basically what you're doing here in this program, right? You've been through a lot in life, you've overcome a lot of stuff, so you're talking to people about it. So I think it's very selfish of people if they overcome something really serious, especially a fear, something that had destroyed their marriage, destroyed their relationship, and they've overcome that, and then they don't tell anyone about it. So if you've been able to overcome that fear and someone comes to you to talk about it, then tell them about your experience. Shout it from the rooftops. It doesn't make you weak. You don't look weak, you don't come across as weak if you say, I had this fear and this destroyed my relationship in the past, but now I'm in a much better place. And I think if everyone did that, if everyone shared with people that they have been able to overcome something negative in their relationship, then there would be a much better chance of helping others. And I think it's sad to see that people are very quick to gossip, to give bad news and all these kind of things, but sometimes something positive that they've been through, sometimes they hold it back.
Definitely great advice there. Thank you so much for coming
on the
show
today.
Pleasure. And guys, if you want to know more about this wonderful duo, you can head over to our to our website, chrissybshow.tv, and you can check out our regular guest section. And there is a link to their website. And they also have a TV show that airs on this channel as well.
True. Yes, that's
Every Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Every Saturday at 3 o'clock. And also there's more information about their seminars that you do as well.
That's
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Right, guys, so we do have one more section for you. After the break, I will also be giving my own tips on how to combat fear in general, and also showing you a challenge that I did, which was very scary. Welcome back to today's program, everyone, where we have been speaking all about how to combat fear. So we've had a real life story guest. We've also had some great tips from our love experts on how not to let fear affect your love life. And I'll be sharing my own points in just a moment about how to combat fear in general in all areas of your life. If you've missed the beginning of this program, don't worry, you can head over to our YouTube channel in a few days' time, which is Chrissy B Show, and you'll catch it there. And don't forget to subscribe, because we have lots of things on our YouTube channel which are great for your mental health and well-being. We have healthy recipes, we have fitness tips, we have tips from psychologists, and lots of other things that are great for you. So now it's time to take a look at a challenge that I did find very, very scary. Hi everyone, I'm here with Nacho, who's the manager at Vertical Chill, and I'm going to be trying something I've never done before, which is ice climbing. Hello Nacho.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Looking forward to this, something I've not done. So can you tell us what's involved in this climb?
Okay, so first we will introduce you to the technique, the 5 points technique. That is the most basic technique in terms of ice climbing. then we get you to practice a little bit, and then we get you to do the slab, the easiest route. And then depending how you do, then we get you to try harder things, or we try to improve your technique, depending.
Do you have to have a certain fitness level to be able to do something like this?
Not at all. We got people that have never, well, actually 99% of the people that come here, they've never done ice climbing in life.
Now, Nacho, we are actually inside a shop. How was the idea come about to actually have this here in Ellis Brigham?
Well, it's kind of like to promote the shop. It's kind of, it make us kind of advertisement. It's a good thing to have here because we get like a lot of people that have never had an experience in terms of ice wall climbing.
That is quite unique because I had no idea. You don't expect to walk into a shop and have this inside, so it's really good. And in terms of the benefits for a person of doing something like this, what would you say that would be?
Well, it's very good exercise, and I don't know, you get to meet a lot of really nice people, and it makes you really strong as well. Like, it's always a good thing.
So your 5 points are 1 and 2 your axis, 3 and 4 crampons, and the 5th is your hips, your body weight. Very important. When climbing, you want to have your feet wide apart and your axis narrow. It's kind of like triangle shape that's going to keep you in balance all the time. Now, once you get the axis in, most people tend to hold themselves very tight. Relax your arms, get your hips out so you can see where you're going to kick next. Then kick in, and then you get your hips in.
That looks so hard.
If you look at the spikes, they're pointing down. So for them to get into the ice, you need to kick your toes a bit higher than heel. We're going to do a couple of steps for practicing. You don't need to go too high, okay?
Don't move it.
Well, that cracked around. You see it cracked a bit? I will take it off. And,
No, it's loose. We could be here a while, guys.
that is solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, kick wide apart. Okay. Now look what you're going to kick with your right one. It's going to hold it.
Okay.
You need to trust it, okay? That's it. Now get your hips in.
This feels really scary. Oh my God!
Tip toe. Hips is, you need to get your hips in and your shoulders slightly further back. No, shoulders. Get your shoulders. That is the position.
Okay, can I get a rope now?
You see, it's cracked around. That looks more solid. Get your arms straight, hips out, okay, so you can see where you're going to kick next. Alright, now kick a few inches higher. Don't need to go too high, just a few inches higher.
I feel like I'm going to fall.
Along with that right foot. That's it. Now, keep your left foot same level. Yeah, trust it. That's it.
Oh, God, that
keep it in. Okay. Now keep your feet still and get your hips in.
This is so scary.
So, as you go up, I'll be taking the rope. If it is coming, just don't push it.
I can't see my foot. I think has that gone in?
I'll whack it again.
Oh,
That crack, you see, it's going to come off.
oh, okay.
It's okay. There's plenty
Shall I do
of time.
another one?
You can break as much as you want.
Okay. Can't get this one up now, shall I? Oh. Got a mouthful of ice. Goodness me. I forgot what I'm doing. My hips. Oh God. That was tiring. Can I let go? Huh? That was hard. Thank you. Okay guys, I've completed my challenge. I have to say I did find it very difficult, but also I'm glad I managed to sort of get to the top, although I had to rest in between, didn't I, Nacho?
Yes, but it's okay. Most people have to. It's all right. Like usually when you do really long routes, you place hand screws on the ice, and then once you clip the rope, you can have a bit of a rest. Otherwise, you get like really pumped.
So this is Shireen, everyone, and she was flying the flag for the females, weren't you? Made it look so easy, I have to say.
Thank you. Once you get a few times on it, it gets easier.
So what do you like about it the most?
I love to challenge myself. I love physical challenges.
Now, you were telling me earlier that more and more females are getting into climbing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think before, especially rock climbing, I think this is not as accessible for everyone. Where rock climbing before, it was a very male-dominant, especially indoor rock climbing, very male-dominant areas. You know, you got a lot of topless men grunting their way up overhangs. But right now, there's a lot of females out there. From I'm a mom myself, and I climb with a bunch of moms. It works all your body. It's social. It's fun, so you don't feel you're actually working out. So it's great fun. Yeah.
And that's how you're supposed to do. Right, guys. So I'm glad I gave it a go at least and managed to get through it at least once. All right, so now I'm going to be sharing a few pointers on how to overcome fear in general. So my first point is to acknowledge that it's normal. So sometimes in order to overcome anything, you have to admit that you have it. So many, for example, addicts, unless they actually admit that they have a problem, they can't do anything about it. But once they've actually acknowledged it and said, yes, this is my state, this is what I'm going through, that's the very first step, obviously, to getting the help that they need and then getting the tools that they need to actually overcome that addiction. So everyone's afraid of something. We all go through scary moments. We all go through doubts. It's a normal part of life, but the important thing is not to allow that fear to get the better of you and stop you from doing what you need to do in life. So that you can admit that fear to yourself and say, okay, I acknowledge I'm afraid, but this is what I'm going to do about it. Or even you can even talk to a trusted friend, for example. My second point is to get advice. So the better prepared you are for something, the less likely that fear will actually take over you. So if, for example, it's in terms of work, you're going for a job interview. If you go in there unprepared, of course, you're going to be really nervous. But the more you prepare, so you find out about the company, you do your research, you maybe do some practice runs of interviews if you haven't done interviews for a while. If you do some of that in preparation, it's not to say that you won't feel nervous at all, but you're more likely to be not as nervous as you would have been had you not prepared at all. So, and that could, that you can apply that point to any area, even dating. You can ask for someone's advice, for example. You can, I don't know if you want to do some practice dating or something. At least, something that people have a lot of, they get very nervous about is what if the conversation runs dry and we have nothing to talk about. So how about just preparing some questions, the kind of questions that you can ask that person when you are meeting for the first time. So the better prepared you are, the less likely that fear will take over you. My third point is mind over matter. Think rationally. Now, Helena did mention this in some of her points earlier. What really is there to be afraid of? Are you actually in any danger? What are the odds of something negative happening? And even if it did, would that be that big of a deal? So, sometimes we just overthink things and we make things seem a lot worse than what they actually are. And as we heard earlier as well, a lot of these fears, most, if not all of the fears that we have, are not even rational. They're not even something that's likely to happen. So why dwell on them? My fourth and final point actually, is to go ahead despite the fear. Now, this one I think is very difficult for many people to do, but that's the only way. Okay, there's some things, for example, that you need guidance with. If it's a deep-rooted issue, a mental health issue, and you might need some counselling for it, you might need some help in facing certain fears, but many of the things we can do ourselves. So that could be maybe, you know, you like someone, you want to ask them out, but the fear's stopping you. Just go and do it. Just jump in at the deep end and don't worry. You never know what's going to happen. And like we said earlier, if it doesn't work out, doesn't matter, just move on. We all go through our ups and downs, we all make mistakes, we all maybe get embarrassed sometimes. And to be honest, things that we maybe do that are embarrassing when we maybe face our fears, those are funny stories in the future for us anyway. So no, you know, there's nothing to lose. All right, guys, so we have reached the end of today's program, but don't forget that if you have a story that you would like to share on this show, get in touch with us via the website chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at chrissybshow or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you want to know more about me, you can visit my website, mylifeafterdepression.com. Do you want to do another wave? You can do a different one if you want.
Yeah, I want to do it.
Can we do another wave? Can we do another wave for Ursula, please? Let's do that first.
I mean, I don't know how to wave.
Right, 3, 2, 1. Look at the camera and wave. Do you like that one?
No, I mean, I don't even know how I'd wave.
Just try.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's the pressure.
It's going to be a long night.
Sorry.
Joking.
Oh my lord.
Okay, should we do it again? 3, 2, 1.
No, I've done it again. Right, okay, go.
Wave, so she waves back at you. Right, ready? Hang on. 1, 2, 3.
Nope.
No. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. There you go. You can visit my website, mylifeafterdepression.com. Oh, bye-bye for now. I'll forget that bit. It's okay.